You've likely heard the old phrase, seeing is believing. That may still hold true, but seeing and believing isn't the same as truly understanding. Historians, archaeologists, and even curious onlookers have encountered a lot of artifacts and finds during their journeys that ended up concealing unexpected secrets, and here's a roundup of the most remarkable among them. Number 15, Dandelieth Stone. In 2013, a Scottish farmer's plow struck something far older than topsoil, an enormous carved stone now known as the Dandelieth Stone. Located on Dandelieth Farm, the artifact carries a series of mysterious symbols etched deep into its surface. Some think the stone belongs to the Pictish culture, a civilization that left behind cryptic markings and little else. The eagle motif carved on its face is frequently seen in known Pictish relics, but the arrangement of the symbols doesn't follow traditional Pictish layouts, sparking debates about its authenticity. While some think it could be a forgery, experts have dated the stone to the 8th or 9th century, meaning if it's a fake, it's an ancient one. The Picts vanished by the 9th century, taking most of their cultural context with them. Even the term Pict is a Roman invention. We still don't know what they called themselves. As it stands, this stone may be one of the last unfiltered voices of a culture long gone. Number 14. Qalu'at Beni Hammad. Qalu'at Beni Hammad, once a major urban center in Algeria's Hodna Mountains, was the first capital of the powerful Hammadid dynasty during the 11th century. Today, only ruins remain, but in its prime, the city was a strategic and cultural powerhouse. Declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1980, its vast walled interior covers over 4 miles and includes 4 residential complexes and what's believed to be the second largest mosque ever constructed in Algeria. The mosque's design closely mirrors that of the Great Mosque of Kairouan, right down to its 20-foot-tall minaret. Excavations over the years have uncovered terracotta sculptures, gold coins, jewels, and pottery, evidence that the city's inhabitants lived well above the standard of their time. However, the decline came fast. The Banu Hilal, a confederation of Arab tribes, destabilized the region before the Almohads eventually destroyed the city in 1152. Though its foundations still stand, Qalu'at Beni Hammad's legacy now lives more in stone and ash than in memory. Number 13. Ming Dynasty Note in a Statue. When auction house staff in China began examining a wooden statue for sale in 2016, they weren't expecting to uncover one of the oldest surviving examples of paper currency. Inside the hollowed-out bust of a Lohan, a Buddhist religious figure, they found a Ming Dynasty banknote tucked carefully within. The note, printed in 1371, carries a stern warning: any attempt to counterfeit this bill would result in execution. Worth 1,000 copper coins in its day, the note is a rare glimpse into a financial system that was centuries ahead of its time. Paper currency didn't circulate widely in Europe until the 1600s, but the Chinese had already mastered the concept. That such a valuable item was hidden inside a religious statue raises deeper questions. Was this a makeshift safe or a spiritual offering? Either way, the discovery underscores how closely intertwined religion, economics, and survival were during one of the most sophisticated periods in Chinese history. Number 12. The Basham Head. Over 2 centuries ago, a massive stone head was unearthed in a Chichester flower bed. For decades, no one could figure out who it depicted. It wasn't until laser scanning came into play that archaeologists, by 2013, felt confident enough to identify it as a bust of Roman Emperor Trajan, who ruled from the late 1st to early 2nd century. Before that, it was simply called the Basham Head, named after the spot where it was found. More than twice life-size, the sculpture may have once belonged to a colossal Roman monument, perhaps the largest ever built in Roman Britain. Scholars now suspect it was commissioned under Emperor Hadrian, Trajan's successor. The heavy erosion on its face hints it might have spent years submerged at sea before somehow winding up buried in that quiet garden. The exact journey it took remains unclear, but the weathering and craftsmanship suggest it's far more than just a random relic. Number 11. Roman Safe in Spain. In April 1994, A well-preserved Roman villa in western Spain revealed a hidden relic, an arca or Roman safe buried beneath centuries of ash. The villa, known as Casa del Mitrio, had long since collapsed and burned, but the safe survived thanks to protective layers of debris. Though made of wood, the box was rigged with iron spikes to deter thieves, an ancient take on security. Its ornate design suggests it stored valuable possessions, possibly jewelry or coinage. Only 4 examples of these Roman safes have ever been found, making this discovery especially rare. Despite being unearthed in the 90s, the Arca was so fragile that full excavation and preservation weren't completed until 2017. Its survival tells a bigger story. Roman households didn't just rely on soldiers or fortresses, they also used clever engineering to protect what mattered. Though primitive by today's standards, this safe proves that long before digital codes and bank vaults, people were already losing sleep over keeping their valuables secure. Number 10. Wolf God of Wood Eden. Among the artifacts left behind by the Romans, few are as unsettling or as unexplained as the tiny sculpture known as the Wolf God of Wood Eden. Now housed in the British Museum, this small figure has stumped experts for years. Roughly 1,900 years old, it depicts a fierce canine figure devouring a pair of dangling human legs. That single grim detail is what makes it so bizarre. Only the legs are visible. Mid-gulp. Scholars aren't certain whether the figure represents a Roman or Celtic deity. Romans associated wolves with strength and empire, especially the legend of Romulus and Remus, raised by the she-wolf Lupa Romana. But the Celtic Britons also revered a wolf god named Camulos, linked to the underworld. The style and symbolism of the sculpture blur the line between both traditions. Without more context, it's impossible to say for sure who made it or why. What's certain is that it wasn't meant to be cute. I mean, just look at it. Number 9. Dilmun Burial Mounds. Scattered across Bahrain's main island are more than 350,000 ancient grave mounds, remnants of the Dilmun civilization that thrived over 5,000 years ago. These necropolises, known as the Dilmun Burial Mounds, make up what was once the ancient world's largest cemetery. While they look similar from the outside, they vary widely in structure and age, suggesting they were built gradually by communities over centuries. Each mound may have served not just as a grave, but as a symbol of status, tradition, or spiritual belief. Despite their scale and historical value, the mounds face an uncertain future. Attempts to further study or preserve them are frequently blocked by religious hardliners who argue that the sites are un-Islamic and want the land cleared for new housing. In 2019, UNESCO granted the site protected status, but that hasn't stopped pressure to redevelop the land. If those efforts succeed, we risk permanently erasing not just a burial tradition, but a civilization that once defined the ancient Gulf region. Number 8. Monroe Stone Tool. Back in 1973, a landowner near Monroe found a strange stone artifact that has puzzled experts ever since. Initially assumed to be an arrowhead, its unusual heft and ancient origin quickly ruled that out. A comprehensive study in 2019 placed its age somewhere between 3,000 and 5,000 years old, likely from the late Archaic period. Based on its form and wear, researchers now believe it's an adze, a versatile woodworking tool used for smoothing or shaping wood. It could have been used to craft anything from household utensils to weapons, or even an entire canoe. The biggest hurdle in confirming its exact use or origin is the fact that it was found in total isolation. No similar tools or cultural materials were located nearby. Why this lone artifact was buried there, and what community once relied on it, remains unsolved. It's a rare case where even after decades of expert analysis, the artifact still raises more questions than answers. Number 7. Stele of Montoro. In 2002, a Spanish farmer unearthed an unusual stone slab in Montoro, later dubbed the Stele of Montoro. Its inscriptions, sharply etched and remarkably preserved, don't match any known Iberian language. Some scholars believe the writing could predate all recognized regional scripts, making it one of the oldest written records on the Iberian Peninsula. Linguists studying the stele noticed hints of Iron Age influences and spotted character elements reminiscent of ancient Greek, South Arabian, and Canaanite alphabets. All of these cultures left their mark on Iberia during the Iron Age, so the stele may represent a forgotten intersection of civilizations. It's also possible the carvings were added over time. Some markings appear newer than others, hinting at graffiti or layered messaging across generations. It could be a community's attempt to mimic foreign writing without fully understanding it, or maybe it's the last trace of a vanished language. Either way, this relic offers a rare glimpse into a complex past we still haven't begun to untangle properly. Number 6. Lost Palace south of Jerusalem. In 2020, a team digging just 2 miles south of Jerusalem's historic core uncovered what looked like the remains of a palace, massive, meticulously carved stones and collapsed columns that once belonged to something grand. The layout suggested it wasn't left to crumble naturally. Instead, it appeared purposefully buried, either out of ritual respect or perhaps following a destructive event like an earthquake. Some archaeologists propose it could have been damaged during the Babylonian conquest of 586 BCE, but no definitive traces link it to any known ruler or occupant. The stonework points to a construction date around 2,700 years ago. Among the most striking pieces found are large, well-preserved capitals that once topped towering columns. Whether it was destroyed by nature or war, the fact that it was so carefully hidden afterward raises even more questions. Despite its scale and craftsmanship, not a single clue has been found to reveal who lived there, or why it was buried as if meant to be forgotten. Number 5. Tomb of Absalom. Standing in Jerusalem's Kidron Valley, the Tomb of Absalom, or Absalom's Pillar, is a curious mix of fact and folklore. While tradition holds that it was built to honor Absalom, the rebellious son of King David, archaeological evidence tells another story. The structure likely dates back to the 1st century CE, long after Absalom's time. Built directly into the rock face, its base functions as a tomb, while the upper half is a nephesh, a kind of commemorative monument often tied with nearby burials. The conical roof and decorative features reflect a blend of Hellenistic and early Roman architectural styles. Inside, the chamber contains 3 burial niches, though the identities of those interred remain unknown. Over the centuries, the monument became tied to local legend, even earning the tradition of people throwing stones at it to curse Absalom's memory. Despite the myths, what survives is a finely crafted 2-tiered structure, part grave, part monument, built to honor someone of considerable status, though their name, unlike the stone, didn't survive. Number 4. Giant sauropod femur. In July 2019, researchers in France unearthed a colossal dinosaur femur measuring over 6.5 feet long, likely belonging to a sauropod. These plant-eating dinosaurs were among the largest animals to ever walk the earth, and this bone alone hints at a creature that once weighed around 50 tons. Sauropods dominated during the late Jurassic period, roughly 140 million years ago. What made this discovery particularly impressive was the condition of the bone. Despite its age, it still showed clear markings where muscles and tendons had once attached, as well as where scars from the dinosaur's movement. Paleontologist Ronan Allen noted that while complete skeletons remain rare, finds like this offer a vital glimpse into just how enormous these creatures truly were. Based on similar remains, scientists estimate the full sauropod could have stretched nearly 85 feet from head to tail. Though only one piece of the puzzle, this femur stands as a rare and detailed relic of an animal that once ruled Earth's ancient forests. Number 3. Northern Song Dynasty coins found in England. When 2 Chinese coins turned up at separate locations in England in 2020, historians weren't sure what to think. Both coins dated back to the Northern Song dynasty, which ruled China between the 10th and 12th centuries. Official explanations claim they likely slipped out of private collections, but that excuse feels increasingly flimsy. Losing one might be believable, but two, from the same era in unrelated places, that's pushing it. Northern Song coins were minted in vast numbers and stayed in use in China until the 14th century. It's unlikely that early cultural contact existed at the start of that span, but by its end, interaction doesn't seem far-fetched. Whether through trade, wandering travelers, or lost shipments, something linked these coins to medieval Britain. It's not enough to prove formal contact between the two civilizations, but it does challenge the tidy timelines historians have long relied on. These artifacts don't rewrite history entirely, but they crack it open just enough to demand a second look. Number 2. Ancient shipwreck on the Garonne River. In early 2022, archaeologists working along the Garonne River in southwest France uncovered something extraordinary, a 40-foot shipwreck built from oak, pine, and chestnut timbers, dating back nearly 1,300 years. The vessel was remarkably intact, but its condition was dangerously fragile. The wood hadn't been exposed to light or oxygen since the day it sank, and once uncovered, it had to be watered every half hour to prevent disintegration. Radiocarbon testing dated the wreck between 680 and 720 CE. Its design didn't match anything standard from the period, leading some experts to believe it might have been an experimental craft, possibly a prototype that failed. Based on construction style and materials, the ship was likely ahead of its time, suggesting a shipbuilder was testing new techniques. Because the wood is so delicate, full analysis has been slow. Without proper preservation, this rare discovery risks fading before its story can be fully told. Right now, it stands at the edge of being either a breakthrough or a missed opportunity. Number 1. Isaiah seal impression. In 2018, a tiny clay seal impression emerged from the soil of Jerusalem, etched with the Hebrew name Isaiah. It dates back around 2,700 years and has stirred plenty of debate. Some scholars believe it could be connected to the biblical prophet Isaiah, known for advising King Hezekiah of Judah during the Assyrian siege in 701 BCE. Interestingly, the king's own seal was found just 10 feet from this one, near Temple Mount. While the proximity and timing are compelling, they don't confirm anything. Isaiah was a common name back then, and it's entirely possible this belonged to another official or court scribe. Still, the artifact's preservation and script style make it a standout find. Measuring just a few centimeters across, it carried someone's authority, possibly that of a prophet, perhaps just a bureaucrat. Either way, it offers a rare physical trace of names mentioned in scripture, even if the full story behind the clay impression remains locked in the dust of Jerusalem's past. If you found this video fascinating, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.